Oh, it was amazing. I mean, thanks to you guys.
Thanks
Great
very
event.
much,
I know when I met you guys in Seoul, South Korea, you guys did you guys did really great things.
Thanks.
And I knew when you guys reached out wanting to partner with us to come here, you guys were the best pick.
Thank you.
So it's good to have crypto family here in Moscow.
Exactly. Well,
yeah, spasiba.
Thanks. I know you picked some words along the way as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
So we know that you also are a big fan of football, and
yes.
you're going to visit some of the games here apparently. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. So going to some group games, some second round games, then semi-final games.
All right.
Here with my team. So we're very excited. World Cup is something we're very passionate about. Went to the last one in Brazil.
Oh wow.
So it's good to be here. Also have a chance to be in a place that's really pro-crypto, have a huge crypto community. So it's good to kind of be here and have the best of both worlds.
Right. Tell me something. I mean, when you go to different places, apparently there's cultural differences. There is, differences in the projects that you listen to.
Yes.
I mean, and you actually, surprisingly, you did a very, very thorough work with the projects. Not everybody knows, the things behind the scenes, right? Because we were going through actually, a few dozens of projects to screen them and to present you with the ones that are probably the strongest. So, how do you find the cultural things related to blockchain or not? I mean, is there a certain?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a cultural aspect to it. Lots of different countries have different reasons why they want to use blockchain. For example, going to Argentina, for example, to meet projects like RSK. And over there, they've had a very big issue with inflation with the local currency, right? So for them, blockchain and crypto has really been a way to really have a better store of value.
Right.
Then going to different places where it's more about having a decentralized organization or currency that's not really controlled by the government or other bodies or banks. For example, like in Cyprus, where banks seize people's assets and bank accounts and money. So really having something that's truly decentralized. So culture and regions do matter, right? But I think at the end of the day, it's still kind of the same unified goal of just really decentralization. And then you also have the investors trying to feel that as well.
Right. Do you, you definitely go through like tons of projects, and you and your team are probably one of the best minds in the world at the moment. I mean, honestly, that spot the best projects very early. Do you have a secret, recipe there or something?
Just token metrics. Everything's kind of been really open sourced. It's just a matter of putting in the work, and then for the most part, everything else just kind of comes from experience.
Right.
From just looking at different projects and knowing, okay, maybe token metrics say this is good, but past history says don't do this. Right. So kind of really bringing the best of both data, but also kind of having that human element where it's not fully automated.
Yeah. There's also, I have to ask you the speculative question, but there is some critics, let's say, who are saying that you might sometimes be tempted to select some projects that probably are not very strong, but given the fact that they can give you some favors and you backing them, actually make them go through the roof and all. Is that the reality or not?
I don't think
so.
Sorry,
I have to say this.
I don't think so. I mean, I'd ask those people to name a specific project, and I can point to the
Totally
data.
agree.
I mean, because one of the good things about token metrics is the data is the data. It's really hard to change the facts, right? So I think people who say that really don't know token metrics, right? They're kind of evaluating projects based on the idea of what they think it should do. Right. So for example, one example is Sparkster, right? People say, how is Sparkster scored higher than QuickChain, right? And I tell them, I mean, look at the data. I mean, the numbers don't change, right? Number of all-star teams don't change, right? If you look at the data, right? And I tell people my standard of all-star team, 2 years or more at a publicly traded company, or 6 months or more at a top 25 blockchain project, right? Sparkster had more of that than QuickChain. Right. And that's data. I mean, I can't just play favors and change the data.
Exactly.
The data is the data. Sparkster has somebody at Cisco, HP, Accenture, all well-known credible companies, right? While QuickChain, I believe, only had 2 all-stars, right? Facebook and Google engineers, right? So, I mean, the data is the data. So I think people are more judging the idea, and I'm not really an idea investor, I'm more of a team investor. I invest in good teams trying to solve problems with a prototype. I'm not really an idea investor because I gave up a long time ago trying to judge ideas because I think that's how you can miss some good projects because you're busy judging the idea, and you miss the wobbies. So I mean, because to be honest, I didn't think Wabi had the best idea in the world, but it still did 100x. Right. So for me, that was pretty straightforward because it was a great team. So I'm more into great teams than great ideas, because anybody can have an idea, but it takes a great team to execute on the idea.
Right. Now, if you can walk us, through your processes within your black box of your team, right? Do you make all the decisions by yourself? I would assume apparently not.
In terms of the ICO research?
Yes. How is it done? I mean, you have like a certain process, or you have voting things, or?
I mean, so it kind of depends, right? So the way we now do things is we all bring projects together to the team as a group, and we all kind of first screen them to make sure there's nothing that's just totally insane. For example, a DApp raising over 13 million to us is insane.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how good the team is or the product, we just won't even, for the most part, look at it. Right. Very, very rarely, but nowadays we won't touch it. Nowadays our focus is mainly infrastructure projects, so we know what to expect. So when somebody brings an infrastructure project, the first thing we look for is there a prototype, is there a product? Ideally, if it's a blockchain, a testnet or a mainnet. Right. That's about to launch very, very soon. So for example, if they're having an ICO, testnet better be launching, either already be launched or launching 1 month or so after the ICO.
Okay.
Because that's really something, means they actually, it's not just an idea.
Yeah.
The next thing is looking at the token metrics. So that's something me and my team does, but mainly me. But my team does the initial screening. So I don't have to go through 100 ICOs. May only be 5 that filtered out of 100.
Okay.
Then I go through and basically give it a stamp of approval from a token metric standpoint. Once that happens, then we have Assad, who's our blockchain expert. He's a blockchain and AI engineer at IBM Watson.
Wow.
So he basically looks at the different projects, and I'll say, okay, check the code on GitHub. Tell me what you think about this from a technical standpoint, not token metrics. Then if that's good, we typically have a call with the team, and nowadays, because so many projects can really stretch the truth or even lie about their progress with the product, we ask for actual demos. So with QuickChain, with Eden Chain, with Sparkster, all of them, we got demos for them.
Okay.
And if they say they don't do demos, it could be the best product in the world, but for the most part, we're probably going to pass on it. Because nowadays, we've been burned with lots of projects that seem very sexy, but didn't really have anything to show, right? Even though they claimed they had something. Right? So nowadays, it's a requirement for our technical team to really give it a approval as well. So if it gets the stamp of approval for both technical and the code, and also token metrics, then we invest.
Right. Okay. Talking about the times now, the industry is changing very drastically. What is your prediction in terms of the coming, couple of years, maybe 2-3 years? What is going to happen with the protocols, the usage of these protocols by, I don't know, small businesses, big corporations, or even government organizations?
I think all the protocols or projects out there, for the most part, will just die, for lack of a better word.
Right.
Because like in any business or any space, 95% of projects and startups will die.
Sure.
So blockchain is just one section of startup world. So I think right now we're just kind of trying to find winners, almost kind of like the dot-com boom. Out of that crash, we got the Google, the Amazons that came out of the Yahoo for some time were the winners. So I feel the same thing is going to happen in blockchain. Eventually, most of these projects will just die, and there'll be more clear winners. For example, eventually there could be a clear winner for the blockchain space, maybe for high-speed blockchain, or maybe for other niches in this space. So I think that's kind of what's going to happen.
Are you talking about just like all ICOs, or are you talking about even the protocols, right?
Even protocols,
even
ICOs
protocols
and protocols.
Okay.
I mean, because I think not every protocol can win,
Definitely.
Obviously, right? There has to be usually a winner, a second place, and third place.
Right.
So kind of like your...
Do you think there's going to be like the industry consolidation for the world, or there's going to be some regional players?
Yeah. So I think there'll definitely be niches,
right?
right? You could probably have one blockchain or one protocol for the entire world. That's the general use case. Then you have one for regions, maybe one for like China, one for Korea, one for maybe even Russia. Right? That's more kind of customized, similar to almost like search engines, right? You have Google, which is kind of the big one in the English-speaking world.
Right. And
then in China you have Baidu.
Exactly.
Then over here I believe you have something else, Yandex, right? So it's a similar thing.
Exactly.
But with blockchains and protocols.
Right. Final question. What's your view on Russia in the whole map of blockchain, honestly speaking, in terms of ICOs, developers, and maybe some of the advices that you would like to give to the community here?
Okay, I mean, I think developer-wise, Russia is known for having the best talent, like it's up there. Russia has world-class talent. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Then I think the ICO, though, from the ICO standpoint, hasn't really been a big ICO win. The last one was credits, and that had lots of controversy, right? So I feel like the main thing with that is just really kind of being able to kind of build more awareness globally outside of Russia is probably something that could definitely be improved upon. I think definitely kind of having different languages has kind of slowed things down. I think that's kind of the main thing that has to be solved is just kind of, for me personally, it's kind of goes back to really doing research on projects here. It's been very hard to do.
It is, yeah.
Especially there have been some projects that kind of have been scams that have kind of been here, and they may have kind of given or tarnished some people from investing in projects here. But to me, it's been just more about not having enough data to do homework on projects here, right? And without data, I can't really do my token metrics.
Sure. Well, thanks very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We hope you'll enjoy the games, the World Cup and all, and be careful with the nightlife. It might become very stressful here.
I will.
So thanks for coming
Thank you
over.
for having me.
Pleasure.